So, I guess you can tell by the thumbnail how I voted. And we'll go over a few things this morning. Uh, so let's go down the ballot to other people first. In my local elections, I voted to keep Mayor Ryan, to keep Joey Scuddo, and to vote VV um, onto the council. Um, when when I voted for the homestead exemption to go up and down depending on inflation, I voted no against that. That's something that's unknown. It's not cut and dry. It can go up. It can go down. You know, I don't need that. I don't need that. I need something. At least when you vote for an exemption, you know exactly what you're voting for, and there's no sliding scale. Um, I know I'm missing some things, but when it came to marijuana, I voted to legalize it. Um, I was conflicted with that. Um, the hello, the marijuana thing. I don't see any difference between that and alcohol, right? Drinking alcohol. The only difference is alcohol. You sit in a room with other people drinking, and you can't get drunk really unless you drink it. But if you sit in a room with a bunch of people smoking marijuana, you can get high, or you can test positive for a drug test. That was the only thing I had an issue with, other than I understand they're trying to legalize it so it doesn't ruin people's lives with drug convictions. um, Abortion, um, I voted to legalize abortion. Um, and I had some reservations about that because I listened to an attorney who didn't like some of the language that was in there. They tell you in the language on how it's written, there's a chance that taxpayers could be paying for people's abortions. Um, if it's medical, someone's having a medical issue and you need to abort the child so you don't die, that should be an option, right? Um, I don't like the argument that it's. I don't like the argument that in today's day and age with all the. Let me just say this: I don't want to pay for someone's abortion. I don't want my tax money, right? I think that abortion is something that's optional. The mother has the choice, right? Whether to abort the child or not. And if they decide to do that, I think that should be on them. I think they should have to pay for that. I don't think that other people should have to pay, especially in today's day and age when you have all types of birth control. At this point, if you're 16, 17, or 18 and your parents don't have you on some type of birth protection and you're careless, it's not. That shouldn't be my issue. It should be you and your family's issue. Um, but again, I voted for the abortion. Okay, so there's a few other things. I voted to keep the justices. I voted to keep, in the past, I used to vote them all out, right? But now I just vote them to keep them all in. Um, I think voting on judges is one of the most difficult things because who do you know? When you're voting for judges, I don't know anything about their records. I don't study anything about them. When it came for president, yes, I voted for Donald Trump. Um, there's a lot of people. Hello. I did vote for Trump. Um, in 4 years ago, the world was a much safer place. There wasn't any wars going on. Remember when Clinton said that if you vote for Trump, we're going to be in wars all over the place. Well, that turned out to be false because now we have Biden and we have wars going on all over the place. So, and my pocketbook was a lot better under Trump. Since 2020, I did some research. Most prices are up 15-20%. People point to inflation, but that's wrong. That's the wrong. That inflation was climbing by 9%. Now it's down into relatively 2, right? But that's based on today's prices, not last year's prices. Right? Hey, music. Yes. No. The United States did not physically get into it, but we're supporting it. We're sending all the arms. You know, Ukraine could not wage war without us. And if you really think about it, right? The only reason Ukraine and Russia can actually war is because of the support they're getting from other countries. Ukraine couldn't wage war without the support from the United States, right? And Russia could not wage war without the support from China, Iran, North Korea. So these other countries are enabling two countries to war. So we're actually all warring against one another. We're just doing it through two separate countries. And they're losing on both sides. They're losing generations and generations and generations of people. Right? Young men, young women, they're losing their lives. Fight over land. Fight over land. This is what we're fighting over, land. Hundreds of thousands of people are losing their lives over land. Okay? And the world's paying the price because Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. And they supply a lot of fertilizer to the United States and other parts of the world. So our prices have gone up because of the costs that the farmers have incurred because they have to buy the products to be able to grow food for people. So when Kamala Harris says it's price gouging, she's not being correct. It's not correct. I've listened to many experts, and they all say it's not a price gouging thing. But this is where they hope that people like us don't do our research, and we just take them at face value, right? So the war is affecting the rest of the world. It's creating higher prices. Since 2020, since January of 2020, in 4 years, their consumer price index is up 20%. And it's still going up. It's just not going up at 9% a year. It's going up at 2% a year. It's still going up. Will we ever go back to those prices? No. But can we go down in prices? Can we make things cheaper? Sure. We have to stop the wars. Right? And I know what Trump's going to do. I know what he plans to do. He's going to starve them of money. Right? Because money makes the world go round. If you don't have money, you can't do anything. Right? If you don't have money, you can't do anything. And if you listen to President Trump on Joe Rogan's podcast, he went to China. You can't control China. He told China that if you buy any more about Russian oil or Iranian oil, I'm going to put 100% tariffs on all your products. And what happened? China backed down. They didn't buy their products, right? Just the threat of tariffs can devastate another country's economy, and China can't withstand that. Iran was on the verge of making a deal with the United States because Trump negotiated with the other countries not to buy their oil anymore, and Iran was going broke. And then when Biden came in, he changed the policy. He changed the policy, and Iran started making, you can see it. You can see what happened. They got billions of dollars back. They started selling their oil, and now they're involved in the Israel conflict. right? Trump knows that approach. He has a different approach. You starve them of money. You go to the countries and you starve them of the money, and they cannot. Because if you starve them for money and the country starts having issues and falling on hard times, the people in the country will revolt. You can't have change unless it starts from within. Right? You see it across the world. Not until people start to revolt within the country, the borders of its own country, can there be change. You can't force change if the people don't. And that's why these countries, they rule with the iron fist and keep their countrymen have nothing. Because then you might have 30 million people in a country that have nothing. And they can't revolt. That's why they rule the way they do. And we've tried that, right? We've tried arming the opposition against a certain political party. That really hasn't worked out. Right? So right now we're fighting a proxy war. And what's funny is Trump says he wants to end it. And everyone pushes back against him. Oh, you want Russia to win, right? We're still hearing it 8 years later. It's Russia, 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 Russia. Right? Even when they had an investigation and found out the whole Russia thing was a BS story and Clinton made it up. And I've always told you that. If you go to a book called Shattered, it's by 2 independent journalists who were with this Clinton campaign. And how, I think it's chapter 25 or 24, something like that. They talk about how the Clinton campaign orchestrated the whole Russia thing. And then they used the people within Congress to push the narrative. And that was just to handicap Trump. Because they at the time, they were fearful. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. I did vote for Trump. Harris, you only can go by someone's record, right? Trump was president for 4 years. We had no problems while he was president. At the end, he put up a fight to try to stay, and he's still gone. But you have Harris, and you look at her record. So what she was trying to say is, everything that Harris did prior to her declaration for candidacy, everything she's ever done, before the Senate, during the Senate, whatever she has said and done, ignore. Because I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do the opposite. They don't do the opposite. None of them do. Because they are dependent on the party. The Republicans are dependent upon the party. They need party support to pass legislation. They need party support to raise money. They need party support. So they can't buck the party. And the Democrat, the president, can't buck the party that put him there. So if you want the status quo, you want to have war, you want to have a never-ending war, if you want that approach that we've been doing now for the last 3 or 4 years and spending billions of dollars, then that's how you vote. If you want a different approach that doesn't give people what they need to war, the arms, the money, then you go with that approach. Because probably, make no mistake about it, if you stop the wars, the conflicts, the world's going to be a better place, a safer place, a cheaper place. Right? Because nothing's for free. It's all going to come from someplace. That money that we're spending, someone's paying. Someone's going to pay for it, whether it's now or down the road. right? We're $34 trillion in debt. Why are we $34 trillion in debt? Because we keep kicking it down the road. Kicking the can down the road to the next generation. The next generation. At some point that comes home to roost. Right? So yes, my vote was for Donald Trump. And we'll see what happens. But I've always said, no matter who becomes president, whether your candidate becomes president or doesn't, we're going to be okay. Right? We're going to be okay. We've been here a long time. We've been through a revolutionary war. We've been through a civil war. We've been through actual war, World War II, World War One, different conflicts. We're still here, man. And we're thriving. Right? So it's not the end of the world. Watch that movie, The American President. I think it's Michael Douglas? How do you win an election? You make someone afraid of it, and then you tell them, how does it go? You get a bunch of people together and tell them how bad it is. And you tell them that every day. Imagine if you're watching a TV program and every day they came on and said how bad you got it. After a while, you start to believe it, right? Because you're watching it every day and they're telling you it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And then one day you go, freak, man, it is bad. And then they go, oh, we got him. And guess who's to blame for it? Joe Biden or Donald Trump. Boom, there you go. That's how you win an election. You keep telling people how bad it is until they believe it, and then you tell them who's to blame for it. That's how you win an election. Watch The American President. That's a really good quote from the movie. Right? It's all about scare tactics. All about scare tactics. So, is it the most important election of our lifetime? Every election's important. Is it the end of the world? No. No matter who wins today, tomorrow, I gotta get up and go to work. At 7 o'clock in the morning, I gotta go to work. And Thursday, I have to go to work again. And then Friday, I have to go to work again. And then when my paycheck hits the bank on direct deposit on Friday, 80% of it is already going to someone else, and I'm left with 20%, and then hopefully that'll get me through the next 2 weeks, so I get to my next paycheck, and then 80% of that is spent again. So listen, it's not the end of the world. Everything's gonna be good. Y'all have a good day. Keep your chin up. And have a good day. See ya.